Hi everyone and welcome to Hobby World. If you are a Terminator fan, if you like 3D printing, or if you just like movie props in general, you have come to the exactly right place, because today I'm going to finish this 3D printed scale 1:1 T-600 Terminator skull. First of all, just a couple of quick words about the model itself. This is a 3D printed T-600 Terminator skull. It comes on this nice display where there is room enough for a small sign with the Terminator model number. It can also be removed, or you can also remove the head and place it like this, so it can be displayed on a wall instead of standing on a table, which is a really neat feature actually. I might even consider doing that. And on the back side of the model there is this compartment for a battery and an on-off switch, so you can install a couple of glowing red LEDs inside the eyes, making this look really mean. So I think this is a great model. And best of all, this model is actually fairly easy to 3D print. So if you have access to your own 3D printer, you can print this for yourself and get a really nice model you can place on your desk or hang on the wall or something like that. So I hope you're interested in following how I've come to this point and how I'm going to finish this model, because that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. Thank you all, and please enjoy. I decided to print the jaw and the skull on my Ender 3 Pro printer. The reason for this is that the Ender 3 Pro printer here with a 0.4 nozzle has a really smooth finish on the printed parts, so I could save a lot of post-processing by simply printing them in a high quality. It took almost 2 days to 3D print the jaw and the skull on the Ender 3 Pro printer, but the result was just incredible, so I saved a lot of work in the other end, so no regrets. Well, it's about time I get a bit further with this Terminator head. This is actually a very cool model. It has this nice stand with room for a sign that says which Terminator it is and so on. A lot of skulls creating the right mood for the Terminator. And then we have this awesome Terminator head up here. It's sort of like a bust, but it's just a head. We have the jaw here that will be installed like this, and then there's actually room for light inside the eyes. As you can see here, there is the room for a couple of LEDs, and I can 3D print something in resin that will be clear, transparent, so we can get this very nice effect of the eyes glowing. On the back side there is this box, a battery compartment with a small lid on it, so this is a very cool model. It also has the possibility of actually installing it like this on a wall and then inserting the Terminator head in this hole instead, so it can either be placed like this on a table or it can be installed on a wall like this. So it's a very awesome model. And today I'm going to get a bit further with this. I need to resin coat it to remove all of the remaining layer lines. Not that there are that many actually. Look at how nice this print turned out. But I usually give these models a resin coat to remove the layer lines. On the base down here it's much more visible, especially here you can see all of this. It will of course be hidden behind a sign, but anyway it's visible up here. So I'm going to resin coat all of this, clean it up, give it a coat, and then cure it with some UV light to remove the layer lines. After that's complete, I'm going to spray paint the head black, a very gloss black paint, and then I'm going to give it an airbrush coat of ALCLAD II Chrome paint. After applying all of the resin and curing it using a UV lamp, I used some IPA on a piece of cloth to remove all of the excess resin that was laying around on the surface and making it a bit sticky. And when that was removed, I used some very fine piece of sandpaper to sand it all down and get a nice smooth surface. And if we take a look at this skull here, we can actually see how clean this surface is. It's very smooth to the touch and will create an excellent bottom for the primer. So that will be my next step, priming this model up, but it looks really incredible. It is so smooth to the touch. I got a lot of work done yesterday with this T-600 head. First of all, I managed to prime the entire head and spray paint it with this gloss black that has created an incredible effect. As you can see here, it's almost like looking into a mirror. The reflection is just impressive. And this is really important for when working with stuff like ALCLAD II Chrome paint. I'm going to airbrush on this tomorrow. This reflection is the stuff that's going to create the mirror effect in the chrome paint, making the chrome look incredible. So this was really important. And I'm just going to say a couple of words about how I got to this point and made it look this good. First of all, I applied this stuff. This is called Duplicolor, and I applied 4 layers of this, all thin layers, and I made sure that the previous layer was completely dry before applying the next one. This is really important because if you apply 2 thick layers, you will end up having some of the paint running, and I've even experienced that it created some bubbles that disrupted or destroyed the surface. So it's so important that we get this smooth, clean surface when working with undercoat for the ALCLAD II Chrome paint. After I had applied that, the Duplicolor gloss black, I used the Duplicolor gloss varnish, and this is a really gloss varnish, and that just sort of like gave it a bit extra. I applied 2 layers of that, also thin coats, made sure that it didn't run. So that's the way to get to this result. The base down here is sprayed. First I spray painted it all black, then I gave it a bit of brown in certain areas and then some grey on the concrete parts. Then I hand painted the skulls, hand painted some of the metal parts in here, and then I just gave it a quick dry brush of some grey on all of the concrete. And after that I applied a rust effect paint on all of the metal parts. That's the reason it's a bit brownish, and I actually didn't save any of this. I just used a lot of it, so I applied a bit of rust effect on the base itself too. I also gave all of these skulls a coat of this stuff, Skeleton Horde contrast paint from Citadel Colors, and now I need to pick up all of the details by hand on the skulls, making them look a bit more white. I'm going to fix up the concrete, make it look a bit more real, and after all of this I'm going to add some pigments to the stuff, making it look like there's some real dirt on it and making some of the rust effect look like it's dried rust. Beside that, I have this sign down here. This is the T-600 sign that's going to be placed right here on the base or on the display, and I'm going to make this look like old copper. I just think that's going to look good, so I'm going to try it. I might consider doing it in some sort of steel instead, but I'm just going to try the copper look first. So that's basically an overview of how much I've managed to do yesterday. So now I'll just get right to the work, and I'll do this and paint a bit on the display, and then I'm going to give the skull itself some chrome paint tomorrow. that's it. Gotten pretty far with the T600 project. As you can see, the base is almost done. Have the sign ready, the base painted, and the Terminator head is all chromed up. So now I'm going to install a couple of glowing red eyes inside this magnificent piece of Terminator. And as you can see, these eye sockets are actually hollow, and there is a channel running through them into this battery compartment over here. So right now I'm going to install this battery box I've bought cheap on eBay. On the back here there's an on-off switch, so I don't need to make one of those. Have a 9-volt battery for the box, a couple of red LEDs with a couple of resistors that's going to be placed in front of them. These are 330 ohms. And then I have some heat shrink tube and some wires and a lighter. So I'm going to use these parts to get these LEDs installed into the eye sockets. As the eye itself, I'm using these. They came with the 3D model of the Terminator head and have been printed on my Anycubic Photon, and they actually look very nice. As you can see, they have all of these small details in them, so I hope they will diffuse the light and make it look really good. If they're not diffusing the light well enough, then I'm going to sand down the tip of these red LEDs to diffuse it, because LEDs can have a tendency of working a bit like a spotlight, and by sanding down the top you will diffuse the light. So just going to install those now. Well, this T600 head turned out quite nice. If we take a look at the eyes, we can see there are a lot of details in those eyes. They have all of these small details here, and it looks incredible. I don't know if it's possible to see on the camera, because I don't think it can focus that much. And taking a look at the skull itself, the chrome effect just turned out really nice. The T600 head is a bit more damaged than the T800, so it will be a bit more rough on the surface, and it can also be seen on this model, but it looks incredible. I did a bit of research, because originally I'd considered painting the teeth in human-like teeth color, but I could see on the web that the T600 has metal teeth, so I'll just stick with that. But I think it looks a bit dull, and one of my problems right now is that this Terminator head and the stand, they do not fit very well together. They are a bit too far apart in their individual styles. This is very clean and crisp, and this is extremely damaged and rusty and old and so on and weathered. So I'm not very happy about it, because I really like how this skull looks at the moment. You can see the reflections and everything up here. It actually looks incredible, but I'll have to weather this skull to make it blend in more with the stand down here. So I'll just add a tiny bit of weathering, a bit of rust and a bit of corrosion, and that's it. Not too much, and only very lightly, because I do not want to damage that incredible nice chrome effect. Down here on the stand I have this sign that says T-600, and it actually looks very nice. I did this using the rub and buff, but unfortunately again it doesn't blend in with the skull. So I kind of hope that if I change this and gave this a more steel-like look, it will blend in more with the skull up here. So I'm going to change that, and I'm probably going to do something similar with all of these reinforcements in the concrete down here on the stand. So that's the next step. Fix that, and weather the skull just very slightly. Well, that's it for this time. I managed to finish this 3D printed Terminator skull, and it just looks incredible. I just love how the chrome effect here works, and the glowing red eyes are just incredible. Really love how they turned out. I think that it was a great idea to change the sign from a copper metal to a steel look, because this makes the skull and the display blend much more in. So I think this turned out really great, and I really hope that this project has inspired you all. And remember, you are always welcome to write a comment. Questions and feedbacks are always appreciated. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone.